Thank you for joining us as we elevate the Black entrepreneur experience by interviewing CEOs, thought leaders, innovative thinkers, and Black entrepreneurs across the globe. I'm your host, Dr. Francis Richards. Imagine transforming the lives of Black men across corporate America in order for them to make the greatest impact possible. Our next guest is founder of Black Executive Men. Welcome, Jewel Edward Love Jr.
Glad to be here. Thank you so much.
I've given our audience such a brief bio. Why don't you fill in the gaps and share with our audience what you want them to know about you and your business?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from Oakland, California, and my father is an entrepreneur. And so when I was a kid, we're talking 5, 6, 7 years old, while most kids were at the Oakland A's game with their dads eating hot dogs and popcorn, we were walking through empty warehouses looking for the next location for his next business. So even as a young kid, I was a part of grown men's business dealings and accounting and handling money and giving feedback to my dad about which warehouse or location was best or worst for his operation. So entrepreneurialism is in my DNA. And I always knew that I was going to be an entrepreneur growing up, but I didn't know exactly what. I'll give you just a little bit more context that when I went to college, UC Santa Barbara, shout out to the Gauchos, and majored in Black Studies, that's when I did a deep dive on racism in America, the diaspora in general, transatlantic slave trade, and my eyes opened up to the impact of racism here in the United States. And I went into activism. And like most activists, there was a lot of fire in my belly and there was a lot of anger in my heart. And while I was successful, I should say why we, Black student community, were successful in many of our campaigns, the more wins we got, the worse I felt inside. So all you activists out there, this may or may not resonate with you. And so then after college, I pivoted toward the healing path. Studied world spirituality to see what's going on out there. And I tapped into psychotherapy. And nobody from my family before had tapped into psychotherapy as far as I was aware of. And it changed my life completely. And I was amazed that you could get paid to talk for a living. I didn't know that was a career option to have deep conversations and get paid well to do it. So I went and got my master's at Antioch in LA in clinical psychology. And I started Black Executive Men back in Oakland, California. So Black Executive Men was originally a psychotherapy organization. That's what we did. Tears, tissues, trauma, all that stuff. We healed that. And after about 6 years, I said, you know what? I've made my mark there. I've done the work that I'm designed to do there. It's time to pivot into coaching. And by then, most of my clients were brothers from middle management, senior management, and entry-level guys as well. And I was providing coaching support, lifestyle creation support, how they can get a raise, a promotion, a new job, a board seat, and that stuff was just lighting me up. And so that's where I am here today, executive coach, founder of Black Executive Men. Thank you for asking.
When you talk about pivot, the pandemic, and how it impacted your life.
Pivoting and how it impacted my life. It changed my life dramatically. And I'm going to give you all the inside scoop that I don't share around everywhere. So when the pandemic hit, us in the mental health and medical, I mean, those of us in so many businesses and jobs, we had to stay at home. Now, I had a nice office, downtown Oakland, California, suited and booted, all of that. My wingtip shoes, like I was coming in looking sharp, cologne, you name it. had hair at that time. Hair was done. All of that was going on. And the pandemic hit and it stole my thunder because I liked, my dad always said, look good, feel good. So I'd go in and do my thing. Shut down. No more handshakes at the front door. No more pats on the back as they go out. No more, sometimes, money in hand right into my pocket. So all that's gone. I'm sitting at home and I know that, like everybody else, it's time to go virtual. It's time to go virtual. I didn't know how the connection would be between my clients and myself without having that in-person, eyeball to eyeball dynamic where I could really lay eyes on my clients and see what's going on. But it turned out that it works incredibly well. For most of my clients, it takes the pressure off of them from having to perform, being in front of their therapist, and then what turned into be their coach. So it worked incredibly well, but something pivoted in my own life, which was an opportunity to travel abroad. Now, I hadn't been abroad since my early 20s when I went to Ghana and Egypt and Burkina Faso and did some travel in Africa. However, I got the travel bug and said, you know what? There's so much stress, there's so much pressure going on racially inside of the United States, and just with the politics, the intensity. You all know, I'm sure, no matter where you fall, you all get a sense that it's intense. It definitely was a couple of years ago. And I said, as a therapist turning into a coach, my mental health is important. It needs to be taken care of. And there's some things that therapy alone cannot solve. I needed to leave America. And that's what I did. So I got a coach, paid him a lot of money. I paid him $10,000 a couple times to help me shift my mind that it's possible to live outside of America. This has not been a thought for my family, for me, ever before. I ended up getting my ticket. I go down for 2.5 years, leave America. So I go from Colombia to Ecuador to Peru to Argentina to Brazil to Mexico. And I'm currently in Mexico today. I found my home, got a wonderful life here in Mexico. I feel peaceful. I feel tranquil. I feel at ease. I'm able to get coaching clients. Actually, the coaching business is going better than it's ever gone before, making more money, more impact, more contracts than ever before. And I had that sense of peace as well. So that's been talk about a big pivot, especially in the last couple of years. I know it's a controversial statement, and I don't mean to say this to offend, because I know a lot of people perished during the pandemic, and many people, mental health concerns grew for them during the pandemic, people in my own family included. And yet the pandemic was probably one of the most beneficial time periods of my 40 years of my life. And so that's something that I keep in mind, and I want my clients to keep in mind, and you all to keep in mind as well. And even with what's going on in the economy today as well, although it may look like a disaster on the surface, and it may be one, there still may be a silver lining to make it one of the most powerful, transformative moments of your life.
So that's a great pivot into thank you, pandemic, because fill in that blank.
Thank you, pandemic, because you gave me the opportunity through the pressure to force me to make a better decision for my life, to find greater peace inside. Thank you.
Who's your ideal client?
My ideal client is a brother who is 47 years old, a father, a husband, and he is at the VP level of a large organization. So large organization, $100 million in revenue annually, over 20,000 employees, staff, and he has topped out. Essentially, he has reached a point where he's not getting the raises, he's not getting the promotions anymore, and he's looking to unlock his executive identity, more around his C-suite. So next is going to be SVP role, but ultimately he's trying to get to the C-suite. And so guys that have reached that place and they're looking to get to their next, I'd say level, but it's the next level inside. It's the next level of who they need to transform into, because that's what it takes. It's not just a skill set or a mindset, it's a transformation of your identity, because corporate is a club and they can smell this stuff out, who belongs and who doesn't. So guys right there, that's my sweet spot in helping them reach the C-suite and SVP roles.
Talk about mental wellness and entrepreneurship.
That's a great question. So in the Black community, there's actually a lot of activity around mental health, mental wellness, things of this nature. However, the conversation has become more public within the last few years. You got more athletes, more celebrities, more business leaders saying it's important to take care of your mental health, mental wellness, emotional balance, inner peace, and there are steps that you can take and should take in order to do that. So this is something that we're seeing this shift now in the Black community, which is powerful and it's wonderful and it's needed. How it ties into entrepreneurship is that when you have a clear mind, you can make sound business decisions. You can lead your staff better. You can keep your emotions under control, not only in the workplace, but also at home. And you all know what's going on at home bleeds over and blends over to what's taking place at work and your money as well. From a place where you have mental wellness as your foundation and your baseline, you're going to have more creativity. You're going to be more on your A game as far as your networking. So there's going to be more opportunities that come from that as well. And let's just keep it real. The quality of your life is where it's at. And I'm going to be very direct with you. It's about where it's at today, not tomorrow, not in 5 years. We're not going to play that game anymore of when I get 10 years. Life is happening this second. So it's about having an enjoyable experience here and now. And to have an enjoyable experience while being an entrepreneur and making impact, I mean, you got all three.
What is the greatest impact you've made, Jewel?
The greatest impact I've made is giving my clients hope and a sense of freedom that anything is possible for them. As a coach, that's my job. It's to stand in the place of possibility. When they come to me, they're thinking it's impossible for me to, you may think of it as simple stuff, get a raise, get a promotion, get a new job. It is pretty everyday type stuff. Be a better father, better husband. And I stand for my clients in the place of possibility. I ask the questions of what if, how, if it were, how would you feel? What would the steps be to take in order to get there? And I help them create the reality that they want to experience. And through that process, and as they realize it, a sense of hope comes to their life about unlocking their full professional potential and being able to do so. And with that comes a sense of power, agency, and the word I used earlier, which is freedom.
Tell us that story about that aha moment when you knew you were going to transition from therapist to coach, and why.
So I was sitting at Google and I was brought in to do a workshop on mental health for Black men, specifically at Google. First one of its kind that they had. I found the contact there. I reached out. It was a lady who was in charge of their wellness programs. She responded, said, "It sounds like a great idea. Let's do it." Next thing I know, I'm sitting inside of Google. I drive up to the parking lot. This is my first time. I put my post on LinkedIn. Everybody knows that I'm going. They're cheering me on. So I got the positive energy in my back and pushing me forward. And I show up. They key card me in, say, "Here we go. Go ahead, wait in this office. The brothers will be here in a moment." And then they begin filing in. And I didn't know really what to expect, but they were just like me, just down to earth, cool guys, smart, well educated, personable, handshakes. "How are you doing?" Friendly. We sit down and we have a genuine conversation, one they'd never had before in a corporate space. And it was about racism, it was about how it impacts mental health and their well being. But not only that, strategies on how they can improve their mental health in the workplace. And it was through that conversation that I learned there were some blocks in place mentally and organizationally for them to advance. And that was one of the key factors causing them angst is they were putting in the work, but they weren't getting the reward all the time. Now, this is not everybody. We got some folks at Google, some brothers that are killing it. So there are some that have cracked the code, but I observed there were many that had not. And that was a top factor impacting their mental health. I said, if they had these skills, they could feel better. Why? Because their career is taking off. And that was the moment when I saw that one of the most powerful things I could do for my clients' mental health and well being was to show them how to excel in their career. The career where they're usually one of the only Black men in their team, division, and in smaller companies, the entire company. They are the only. They don't have somewhere to turn to and say, "This is my concern related to business and how race impacts it," because many people don't understand. They needed a space to process their advancement from a Black racial lens. And that's when I started the pivot toward coaching, and I've never looked back. Excellent decision.
Jewel, I want you to have a monologue. I want you to name this person, living or not, and this person has inspired you so much. What are you saying to this person, and who is this person?
Okay. So this person is my father. My father inspired me in tremendous ways. And yet, my father inspired the man in me when I was a boy. So I didn't understand the inspiration that I was being given at the time. It was only till when I hit my 30s and 40s is when I understood the deep value that my father gave me as a child and the level of appreciation that I have and had toward him started to go through the roof. To this day, there's still things I'm learning from when I was 5, 6, 7 throughout my teens that I'm gaining value from in this moment. So I would say that person is definitely my father. And thank you for the wisdom. Thank you for the empowerment. Thank you for the guidance. Thank you for the gifts. And thank you for the love.
There are so many brands and businesses that are dominating. Talk about a brand or a business that's dominating that you admire and why.
It's actually McDonald's. Now, I don't eat McDonald's for just my health regimen and reasons, and it's just not aligned there for me for what I'm going for. And a certain type of foods and weightlifting and body, all that, like, being able to build and craft and cultivate and all these things and pieces of the puzzle. However, from a business standpoint, they are really phenomenal at putting out a positive image over decades and being part of families' lives and children's childhoods and creating really positive experiences and memories. And yet they sell hamburgers. They don't sell kids' toys. They sell a space of safety and at times community. And yet they're not a community center. They sell Coca-Cola. They sell French fries. And yet they've been able to create so much value around their product and good feeling around their product that they're a household name, not just in the United States, but all over the world. The other thing that I really like about McDonald's, and I share with my own clients, which is really about them creating value. So, not just doing the work. If you want to get the promotion or the raise or the new job, it's important to highlight your value. And I can't think of any organization that does that better than McDonald's. They are always promoting what they do. Commercial, even the Golden Arches. I've been traveling all over Latin America, and there's McDonald's is all over Latin America. And the Golden Arches are going to be oftentimes one of the highest things you're going to see in the skyline. They're always letting you know we're open. We're here. We're open for business. Come and get our services. Come and get our products. Have an enjoyable hamburger. So I think McDonald's is just an organization that's deeply actually inspired me on their ability to create community, have a feel-good atmosphere to it, create this joyful place for kids. And, we can talk about it. This is an adult conversation. Kids have tough times. It's not always happy for children. I have a therapeutic background. There's abuse. There's real things going on in children's lives. It's not always happy. Now, many times children have a great upbringing, but some don't. And whether they do or they don't, they can take a break from whatever it is and go play in that ball pit over at McDonald's, have a happy meal. It's a happy meal and enjoy themselves for even just a moment. So their ability to bring joy, it's a real thing. And they're selling burgers. It's incredible what they've been able to do with their business.
That was awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What is the best advice you were given?
Wow, I've been given so much advice in my life. She said the best. Wow, I've been given so much advice in my life. And the best advice that I have been given was marching orders. So this is when I was meeting with my therapist for the first time, 28 years old. And I had gotten a sense that there was something powerful emerging from my soul space. And I wasn't clear exactly on what it was, but I'm sitting across from this guy, talented professional, and I'm thinking, this guy's getting paid. I'm paying this guy, and he's sitting in a comfy chair, laid back. He's got his Coca-Cola on the side of the chair. And I'm thinking, I'm paying him to talk to me. He's not lifting. He's not doing the thing. He's not even pushing papers around. He's just sitting there. There's incense burning in the corner. He's got a Malcolm X picture here, a Yoda picture there. He's got the office designed how he wants. I say, this is amazing. I didn't know this was even a possibility. I talked to him about it. I say, you know what? Been trying to land my career. My friends got it figured out. the wife, they got the house, they're doing international travel. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm almost 30. It's a crisis. So I think I could do this. I'd love to do that. Can I do this? Can I be a therapist? And he says, this is your calling. And I said, all right. He said, no, you've got marching orders. These are the orders. You move forward. I said, oh, okay. There's some order here. Got it. And I did my thing and got my master's and passed my licensure test, and I have not looked back. He gave me marching orders. The best advice that I've gotten was an order.
Advice you wish you had followed.
Probably a lot. I'm hard-headed. I like to find out the hard way. I do. I do. I do. I'm in a mastermind coaching program right now. There's people making tens of thousands, hundreds of millions of dollars annually, and they're showing me how to level up. And they are showing me the blueprint. I mean, play by play, and I am questioning everything. Well, we could do it this way. How about my way? Let's do it this way. I'm meeting with multimillionaires. I'm in the six figures. There's levels to this thing. And so I'd say the advice that I wish I'd followed in this domain is when people are coming to me, deep down, they really want transformation. They want a deep life transformation. And many times they're frankly scared of what that could look like and putting the guidance for their transformation in my hands, effectively a stranger. So the advice that I wish I followed is really showing up and being extremely present for the guys that are coming my way and being willing to go into the pain deep with them. Even though it's coaching, don't tiptoe, don't shy away, don't downplay, don't sugarcoat. They're coming with real concerns, and my job is to uncover and find out the deep pain, the deep worry about getting that divorce, about losing that job and being homeless, about the depression turning into anger and them lashing out, beating someone and going to prison and creating a broken home. This is what's in their minds. And it's important for me to be able to go there and be there with them to walk them out of that fear and into possibility. And that's the advice that I've been given. And that's now the advice that I'm starting to take is to be stronger, to show up and be more present with my clients in the dark places of their lives.
What breaks your heart?
It's interesting. I just wrote an article about this last night. I have a daily newsletter that I publish, email and LinkedIn, and it's success strategies for Black men in corporate America. And I was talking about a client, Nick. Now, his real name is not Nick, but we'll call him Nick. And Nick came to me for a new job, essentially. And I talked to him about it. I laid out all the strategies. So number one, we're going to do this, and two, three, four, five, and it's simple. I help guys with this every day. Your case, it's a no-brainer. We're going to knock this out of the park next few months, 3 to 6. We'll have you in your new job. Now, Nick was overweight. Nick was morbidly obese from a clinical standpoint, to the point where if he didn't lose the weight, he would die. Nick is also a father of 5 children. Excellent father, from what I could understand as well. It was the number one rule in his life. Some guys, they're into the job or their cars or their game or drinking, whatever it is. Not Nick. Family man was first. Very admirable. And yet the job he was in was stressful. He was underpromoted. He was underpaid. And because of it, and the commute was crazy, he was putting on stress weight. And so every day he was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was out of control. And so when I heard this, I was thinking, this is an absolute emergency to take action on, to get you in a job that you're paid more, you're promoted, you got a director level title, you have a short commute, maybe it's virtual, you can be at home with your family. We do this stuff every day. Let's go. And at the end of the conversation, Nick says, it's not for me. I'm heartbroken, and it's his family. And I just start to think, if you die, your daughter will, when she's walking down the aisle, be both happy, but be sad that her dad is not there beside her. When your son makes partner at the law firm, he won't be able to call you. He'll be sitting there with his whiskey looking down at a picture of your face, wondering what he would tell you instead of celebrating with you. These are heartbreaks for a lifetime. And Nick is a great guy. However, he was stuck in the comfort zone. It was familiar, even though it was killing him. He was comfortable there. And it was more powerful being there than him taking action and saving his own life, keeping his family united. And when I see that happen, and I see guys that make the choice to stay in their comfort zone as opposed to going into their growth zone where all the possibility lies, and this is easy stuff. As far as life is concerned, this is not the hard stuff. Getting a new job, paying more money, this is actually in the easy stuff category. Beating cancer, that's hard. Okay. So those are the things that break my heart when guys come to me and say, if I don't do this, my life is going to fall apart. My wife is going to leave me. The family will be broken up. My self-esteem will be absolutely wrecked. This could, break generations apart within my family, and have too much fear and are too locked into their own comfort zone to make a change. It breaks my heart.
What brings you joy?
Well, of course, I could easily sit here and say the reverse, and the reverse is true. It's seeing guys step into their potential, which I have clients that do it all the time, and unlocking that potential. It's amazing for me to witness and for them to experience. So the feel-good currency of what I do is absolutely through the roof. I'm blessed to be able to every single day help Black men unlock their potential and get paid very well for it. I'm really in a very sweet spot. However, what brings me joy is a cup of green tea and a grapefruit that's been chilled overnight in the morning while the sun comes in, 7 a.m. That is my zone. That is my peace. That is my joy. That is my tranquility. Having those things together, it's simple, but yet that's something that it truly brings me joy.
Jewel, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question you would have asked yourself? I want you to ask the question and answer it.
Joel, what's the pinnacle for you professionally? Where's this all going? We get it. You're helping brothers succeed and do better in their lives and unlock their potential. There's not a whole lot of guys out there like you doing what you're doing. We love it. Thank you. And what is the pinnacle of all of this for you? Well, my own self-interviewer, that's a great question, and I appreciate the acknowledgement. Love it. And I'd have to say sitting on the cover of GQ, lean forward, elbows on my knees, coach power locked in, gray suit, brown shoes, fit, strong, looking good, skin looking good. And there's a full article on myself, my development, background, and the powerful work transformation and staff that I've built over here at Black Executive Men. That point would be the pinnacle, something that I would be showing all of my friends and family that I'm being recognized for the work that I'm doing on some of the highest levels. And you may question, well, being recognized by the president, that's the thing, that's the highest level, or getting a certain award, and that's the highest level. But the reason I say GQ is because in this organization, you're going to have presidents that read it, but you're going to have guys that are blue collar that are going to read it. You're going to have guys that are SVPs, C-suite that are going to read it. You're going to have those guys in college looking to up level a little bit, increase their swagger. They're going to read it. So it is really this central focal point, and it's very fashionable as well. My dad always said, look good, feel good. So being on the cover of GQ, nice gray suit, being highlighted for the work and the impact that I'm making on men's lives and their families and communities would be the that would be the pinnacle for me. So great question. Thank you for asking.
We've come to the part of our interview, Jewel. It's called Rapid Round of Fun. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I'd like you to give me very quick answers. If there's something you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready for the rapid round of fun?
Absolutely.
What is your comfort food?
Italian pasta.
The last movie you saw?
Anne and the Frightening Monsters. It's like a kid movie, but they're like scary monsters.
You relax doing what?
Playing competitive chess on the couch.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
Michael Jackson, DMX.
Your favorite dance song?
That Dua Lipa baby song.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Grilled chicken.
Your favorite month?
August, Leo.
Your ideal car?
Corvette, red.
Jewel Edward Love Jr., thank you so much for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience Podcast. Before we let you go, share with our audience the best way for them to connect with you and to do business with you, and feel free to leave all your social media handles.
Well, thank you for that opportunity to share this information with your audience. Folks, if you're interested in reaching out for executive coaching one-on-one or services for your organization, or even booking myself as a speaker, please do so at blackexecutivemen.com. Go ahead and spell it out. It's it's those three words, Black Executive Men. It's spelled exactly how it sounds, .com. That's really the best way to reach me. Now, of course, you can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook simply using my name, Jewel Edward Love Jr. However, best place to go, blackexecutivemen.com.
Thank you, Jewel. That's a wrap.
Thank you, Dr. Francis.